So here we go then, the first of the scheduled 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. David Tua in action against Demetris King. King, of course, has come all the way from Flint in Michigan in the United States. And David Tua is a South Auckland man, born in Samoa but living in South Auckland. And well, King, 26 years of age, Danny Williams, and well, I've got to say David Tua now really knocking on at 38.
Certainly is. He's had a very unfortunate career. He's knocked out like 4 up-and-coming world champions, and he's never been able to become world champion himself. Very, very unlucky.
Well, they reckon, a lot of people reckon that he's the best fighter never to have won a world title. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but I think he's a very dangerous fighter. Yes,
he certainly is a very dangerous fighter. You imagine he knocked out John Ruiz, who became 3-time world champion. He knocked him out in 1 round.
Yeah, 19 seconds, in fact.
Amazing. Knocked out Michael Moore. I think it was 30 seconds. Also knocked out Oleg Maskav, Hasim Rahman, and all of these guys went on to become world champions. So,
absolutely.
There must be a burning desire for this guy to become world champion, because he wants some of that money.
Well, we do know, Danny, that he's been having promotional problems over the years. He's also having trouble with his weight over the years. I don't think those two factors have actually contributed to a great career. Yeah. He's also had business trouble as well. Bad investments, things haven't gone right for him. Time spent in court trying to get those things sorted out. And things just haven't gone right.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a chance here to put things right. I remember him way back when he was just a 19-year-old at the 1992 Barcelona Olympic Games, when he got a bronze medal. Lost to David Tua on that occasion, but actually avenged that amateur defeat as a pro.
Yes.
Also boxed in the 1991 World Amateur Championships, fought the great Cuban fighter Felix Savon, who of course was a 3-time Olympic champion, and he got knocked out by Savon, which is hardly surprising. He was only a baby then.
You speak about David Tua having weight trouble. He's weighing nearly 11 pounds heavier than his last fight. So, and
he was heavy then.
Yeah, exactly. So don't know if he's been putting in the hours on the road.
And one interesting fact in fact, there's quite a few interesting facts about David Tua, but one of them is ranked the 48th greatest puncher ever by Ring Magazine.
Amazing.
And, there's no doubt about it. Like you've already mentioned, Danny, the knockouts of Michael Moore and John Ruiz in double quick time. Things like that mark him up as a very, very decent puncher. Whether or not he wants to get rid of this man quite as quickly as that remains to be seen. I don't think it's going to happen. And by the way, he was New Zealand national heavyweight champion at 15 years of age.
Oh, my goodness.
He was beating men at 15 to become the national champion of New Zealand.
Very strong man.
So a decent start there for Tua. Wins that first round by the 10-9 margin. Not a great deal coming back from Demetris King. Demetris, by the way, is 115, lost 19. Been stopped on a couple of occasions. That's in 34 outings. And 51 wins, 43 inside, 3 defeats and 2 draws in 56 starts for David Tua. And the man sitting next to me has had 2 more fights as a pro, 53 professional fights. Danny Williams. Come on, Danny. What was your best night ever? Knocking out Tyson in 4?
Yes, and also my fight against Mark Potter, because winning a title with a dislocated shoulder is something what no other fighter's ever done. Sure. You go from John L. Sullivan to present time. No one's ever done that before. So I'm glad that I've done something that no other fighter in history has ever done. Well,
I'll let you consider this point. How did it feel to become British champion for the very first time? Don't answer me now. Tell me later. Right, here we go. Round 2. David Tua, the smaller of the two, in action here against Demetris King. And he is from Flint in Michigan. 26 years of age, Tua now 38. But, he's still a very athletic individual, David Tua, isn't he?
Pumping out that jab nicely. Something in his early days I didn't see. It's like he just developed this punch.
And you may remember that the first part of David Tua's career, he was under the guidance of one Kevin Barry. Now, Kevin Barry, you may remember, fought Evander Holyfield in the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics when Holyfield got disqualified for simply tapping him on the belt at the end of the round, and the referee chucked him out. An absolutely appalling decision. Holyfield got the bronze, and of course Kevin Barry got a silver on that occasion. And also David Tua won his first 27 fights, 23 by stoppage or knockout. Got 2 children. And apparently, when he fought Monty Barrett in his last fight, David Tua was floored for the first time ever in his career.
Yes, yes. That was a massive shock. And I actually thought he lost that fight. Not only did he get dropped, he also, the referee took a point off. So that was a 10-7 round. I thought he well lost that fight. He was very, very lucky to come away with a draw.
Absolutely, yes. A majority draw there for David Tua against Monty Barrett. And that was in July of last year. Worth mentioning, by the way, when he fought Hasim Rahman back in 2003, some people say he was on the floor in the last round, some people say he slipped in the last round, but that was officially not a knockdown. Also worth mentioning that one Sissi Salif, a man that was beaten on a split decision by David Tua, one of your old sparring partners, Danny Williams.
Yeah, I used him prior to my fight against Vitaly Klitschko. He's a big, I think he's 6'7", very muscular fighter. He helped me out a lot, but no one can give that same awkwardness as Vitaly Klitschko. He's tremendously awkward.
Yeah, very good fighter. He also sparred with Oleg Maskayev back in, oh, goodness me, I can't remember when that was, but a long time ago.
Yes, that was a very, very tough spar for me. Maskayev at the time was a top-rated heavyweight, and I was just up and coming, so it was a great learning experience for me.
While this round progresses, by the way, worth mentioning that in 1997, when David Tua lost to Ike Ibeabuchi, they actually recorded the highest volume of punches ever thrown by 2 heavyweights in a fight that went 10 rounds.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yep, still hold the record for the volume of punches in a heavyweight contest. Well, I'm going to have to go for Tua there. This is all about Tua's homecoming. This is nothing about Demetris King. You know, they're not here for him. They're here for Tua.
Yeah. The Samoan Mike Tyson.
I'm sorry?
The Samoan Mike Tyson, you know, this guy.
Absolutely.
Devastating punches. 43 KOs, you know, tremendous punching power.
You're not wrong. Yeah, he did fight Hasim Rahman a couple of times too, by the way. The second time they fought was a draw. The first time, of course, he beat Rahman, knocked him out, stopped him in 10 rounds of a scheduled 12. Other notable opponents, well, he was outscored by Chris Bird, who's a pretty smart individual. Outscored by Lennox Lewis in a world title fight. He did beat Oleg Maskayev, David Izon. Izon retires, we know him, and as Danny mentioned earlier, John Ruiz in 19 seconds, Michael Moorer in 30 seconds. And he's the kind of fighter, Danny Williams, that will get you in the first or get you in the last.
Yes, yes.
He tends to switch off in the midterm, yeah. But he's a very, very dangerous man, early and late.
Yes, he certainly is. I've seen many times being behind on points and then coming out like a madman in the last round and knocking his opponent out.
Absolutely right.
You can't keep your eyes off this guy. You've got to keep focused all the time. But lately, you know, his last 3 fights, you know, he's gone the distance, and don't know if that punching power is still there. Yeah,
he's won a couple and drawn 1. The draw, of course, was Monty Barrett. The wins were Friday Ahuanya and Shane Cameron, both in New Zealand. The Barrett fight was in Atlantic City in New Jersey. A couple of names on the record, by the way, of King worth a mention. Freza Quendo beat him in 9 rounds. He retired, in fact, in 9 rounds against Quendo, a man that Tua had beaten. He was outscored by Michael Grant, a big boy, and also beaten by Chaz Witherspoon on points over 6 rounds. That was quite early, actually, 2005. Another couple of defeats on his record. 2005 also beaten by Shannon Briggs, and prior to that by Zuri Lawrence, another kind of journeyman heavyweight.
this King's a good fighter to get your shots off against. He doesn't look for the canvas. He looks to stand up in front of you. So he's a good opponent to get your shots off against.
But Danny, I mean, by the very virtue of professional boxing, when a match is made, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a match. But I've got to say at this point, King doesn't look like a match for Tua, does he?
He doesn't. He's just, just saying, come and hit me, but he's, Tua can't get him out of there. He's too big and too strong.
Yes, he's a big, strong fella, no doubt about that.
Oh.
Although he's only 6'2". David Tua, 5'10", but every ounce of muscle on him is designed for power. A bit like, as you say, Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Who's not, about the same kind of stamp, really, as David Tua, isn't he? What a fight that would have been.
That would have been a tremendous fight.
It's never too late, is it? Couple of thumping jabs there from David Tua.
Like I say, this jab, what I'm seeing too, I've never seen this in his early career. So like a punch he just recently developed.
Yes, he never bothered with the jab, did he? He's just a huge left hooker.
All left hooks, yeah. And because of that left hook, most people he fights keep that right hand high to protect against it.
But it doesn't always work, Dan, does it?
Doesn't always work. Sometimes he comes across with the right hand.
Yeah, 51 wins, 43 inside the limit, and that's a very, very good record.
29 inside 4 rounds.
Absolutely,
that's impressive.
Well, he's got that one in the bag as well. Won the first 3, then 30-27 in front. So we've had 3 then of a scheduled 10. We've got 7 more to go, potentially anyway. And I don't really hold, I don't know about you, Danny, I don't really hold with the opinion that he's the best fighter never to have won a world title.
No, definitely not. Very unfortunate, but I wouldn't say he's the best.
By no means. I mean, if we had the time to sit, we could discuss this all night. A lot of good fighters have never had that opportunity, let alone, there you go. At least he had the chance. He fought Lennox Lewis, didn't he?
Yes. That's what I was talking about, being unfortunate. He fought Lennox Lewis, a great fighter.
And was never in it, really?
He wasn't. Got outboxed right from the beginning to the end.
So round 4 it is, of a scheduled 10. These 2 heavyweights going at it. And let's just remind you the weight. Demetris King, 124 kilograms. That's big. And Tua, 112.8. That's big. But then again, he's always, as I say, Danny Williams, he's always had problems with weight. He puts weight on like nobody's business. Just looks at a cream cake and puts on a stone. And, he has had promotional problems, of course, over the years. But there are things you can't take away from him. 15 years of age, New Zealand national heavyweight champion. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Olympic bronze medalist at the age of 19 back in 1992. I mean, these are great things to think about, aren't they? Like yourself, former British and Commonwealth champion, your name's down in the history books, world title challenger, European title challenger. I mean, you can't erase that.
For the first time in Tua's career, I've actually seen him backing off, and he's doing a quite good job at it as well. He's backing off and throwing a good jab.
Is the reason for that, Danny, just to try and make King look slightly better than he is? You get my drift, don't you?
Yeah, I get what you give. I think it's more of that David Tua nowadays hasn't got the stamina and strength to come forward and attack a fight like that. He fights in spurts.
That's a very good point. But didn't he always? I mean, he went off like a train in the first round, didn't he? If it didn't get you then, he'd leave it till the last.
Not really, because like you just said early on in his early career, when he fought Aki Kibuchi, the highest number of punches recorded in the fight. Yes. So in his early days, he did throw a lot of punches.
That's true, and I did remember him way back, of course, back in those days, back to the 1992 Olympic Games, in fact. I don't seem old enough, I know, but there you go. Well, I mean, if King's got a plan on winning this, he better start activating it pretty soon, because this one's just walking away from him, isn't it? And that jab from Tua, like you said before, Danny, was, you know, pretty non-existent previously, but he's working well here.
He's working very well. Best I've ever seen him jab.
But there's no huge power hooks, are there?
No, it's amazing. Oh, great jab.
Well, King getting a bit of a battering here in a subtle kind of way. And he's been employed, I think, Danny, for his durability.
He certainly is. And he's just fighting basically like a big punching bag. He's not really putting no offensive action in there.
40-36. 4 gone, potentially 6 to go. So just to remind you once again, sparring partners of my co-commentator tonight, Sissy Salif, one of David Tua's opponents. And Salif, in fact, was beaten on a split decision over 10 rounds. Another one was Oleg Maskayev, who fought David Tua and got beaten in 11 rounds of a scheduled 12 back in 1997.
That's another fight. He was behind on points, and he was able to come back and knock Oleg Maskayev out.
Fought Lennox Lewis for the heavyweight title back in 2000, lost on points over 12 rounds. And, well, he took either 2 or 3 rounds off Lewis, depending on who you want to believe was the judges. So round 5 now of a scheduled 10. And David Tua, the shorter of these two men, a local favourite, quite naturally, in action here against Demetris King from America.
Demetris has turned southpaw for some reason. I wonder what he's going to do.
I think he's going to confuse himself, Danny. They're not full-powered shots, are they? But it's nice to see him put them together. Incidentally, 19 defeats on the record of King, 2 of them inside the limits.
Against King, I don't think you can knock this guy out with one punch. You've got to put like a big cluster of punches together. And I don't think Tua at this, at 38 has got that engine to do that.
Yeah. Shannon Briggs and Fraser Quendo, the 2 men that beat King inside the limit, incidentally. And he was a major disappointment, Shannon Briggs, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had loads of talent.
Such a big man.
Absolutely loads of talent, but I heard he didn't like to train. And as Jimmy McDonald said, if you fail to prepare, then be prepared to fail.
Absolutely right.
True words.
I don't know who Jim nicked that from, but there you go.
Free jabs, I was shocked.
Yeah, this is a very strange boxing performance from Tua. We just don't associate him with this.
Yeah, good boxing display. You normally see this guy hooking and
trying to tear your head off.
Yeah, but showing a good boxing skill.
Well, when this round is done, Danny, you can tell me how it felt to become British heavyweight champion. Well, nice bit of work there again from Tua, although not particularly clean on that occasion.
Excellent.
Better.
Excellent. Showing good experience in this fight. I think he knows that he can't knock this guy out, and he's just putting his shots together, winning in points.
Get another round in the bag there. Come on then, Danny, how did it feel when you became British heavyweight champion for the first time?
I felt over the moon. This is, you know, this title I've seen won by many great fighters, and that's something I always wanted to win. And when I won it, you know, even with the dislocated shoulder, it was like my greatest victory. I just loved it, loved every minute of it.
And how did it compare to beating Mike Tyson?
Nothing could compare to beating Mike Tyson, because, you know, this is someone who we all grew up watching and admiring. So to go in with an all-time great like that was unbelievable. I must say, you know, obviously I know that I could never survive with Mike if he was at his best. But you know, being in there with a past peak, one of the best heavyweights in the world, you know, it was just unbelievable feeling.
Well, that's very humble of you to say so. Anyway, this is round 6, the halfway point. Forgive me for interrupting you, Danny. Thank you for that. Very valuable information. So round 6 it is. And David Tua, well, he's breezed this one so far. And he's gone at his own pace. Hasn't got out of first gear, really, has he?
He hasn't. You know, Demetris King is not pushing him. You know, he's in front of him, but he's not actually doing anything. And for such a big man, he doesn't seem to have any power.
Yeah, he's not a tall man. He's only 6'2", but you know, he's a big, hefty individual.
Yes, he certainly is.
And that gives him the appearance of being bigger, doesn't it, Danny?
It certainly does.
How tall are you?
6'2".
Same as this man.
Same as this man. Probably about the same weight. After a few cakes.
What, him or you? Well, I don't think he'd last very long with you, Danny. Anyway, that's another story. Back to the action here. David Tua giving his fans what they want, really, to a degree. You know, I mean, I've seen so many fighters and fight fans, Danny, and so have you, who go along to see their man in action. He wins in 20 seconds, and they're absolutely delighted. They don't want to see 10 rounds of lousy boxing and then a bad decision. They want to see a blowout.
True. That's why Mike Tyson was so popular, because he gave you that.
Yep, indeed.
But David Tua showing us something we didn't expect, boxing skills.
I wonder how high up on the list Demetris King was for this particular job. Nothing at stake, of course, no title. And King has had one title tilt, incidentally, and that was the vacant United States Boxing Association heavyweight title and the North American Boxing Association title rolled into one. They were both vacant at the time, and he lost, as I say, in 9 rounds against Feza Quendo.
That's something I never thought I'd see. A referee, sorry, a fighter telling David Tua to come in and hit him. Oh. Can't believe that.
Oh, well, he nearly paid the price there, didn't he? Well, you can only take so many liberties with Tua. And we've got a fight out of this now, as a result.
It's woke King up.
So good round there again for Tua. So round 7 it is, round 4 to go. And David Tua, well, he's been given a challenge there in the previous round by Demetris King. Come and get me. Now, will he be happy, Danny, knowing that he's put King in his place, or will he go looking for this fella?
I think he'll just keep doing what he was doing in the previous round, you know, just looking to pick up points. Like I say, his last 3 fights, he hasn't knocked out anyone. I think maybe that power's gone.
Or maybe he just wants the rounds.
I doubt it.
Yeah, fighters aren't like that, are they?
No. Fighters always want to knock out if they can get it.
Has that ever happened to you where someone said, come on then, come and get me?
Yes, early in my career, a journeyman would say to me, you don't hit hard, you don't hit hard, come and hit me harder. And I'd crack him harder and he'd laugh at me, and it does wind you up, it does get to you.
Who was that?
I can't remember.
Okay,
way
probably
back.
just as well.
Yeah, way back in my career. I finally did get to him though.
Well done. So back to the action here then. David Tua, very, very strangely boxing really well for David Tua. Very un-Tua-like behaviour this, Danny, isn't it?
It certainly is.
But that said, I think King is the perfect opponent for this occasion. Most of David Tua's career, by the way, has been spent in the United States. But he has fought several times, quite naturally, in New Zealand. He's a big sporting hero here, isn't he?
Yeah, they love him. As I say, he's like Mike Tyson to them.
Yep, their very own Mike Tyson. Well, King's already lost 19. He's on his way here to his 20th defeat. And even those punches that skim King, surely they must hurt, Danny.
I'm sure they do, but, you know, King's such a big, strong man that they have no effect.
Yes, and he is 4 inches taller than David Tua. Not that makes a huge difference, because look at Tyson, you know, he'd take out some monsters, wouldn't he? Well, nice switching there. Body to head, then back again. Well, that's another good round, big round for Tua. 70-63 now, hasn't dropped a round. Well, if anyone goes anything but 10-0 to Tua when this fight is done, I'll be amazed. Because I can't see King getting around in the bag, can you?
No, I can't. He's done nothing offensively. He's just been taking punches all throughout the fight.
So a bit of replay here then from round 7. Yeah, some nice moves, I thought, from David Tua in this particular session. Head and body, good boxing. Nothing spectacularly powerful from him, but commanding work. So round 8, 3 to go. Will we get the full route out of this? I think we probably will, Dan.
It looks that way. Like I said, if David Tua had the engine, he could back up King against the rope and let his punches go, and the referee would be forced to stop the fight, because really King's got nothing left.
But does that mean then, in your opinion, that you don't think Tua has got what it takes to go further?
No, I think Tua has had his days, and I think he's still a good fighter, but he's had his days. He's never going to hit the dizzy heights like he did before. You look at his last few fights, and they're evident. You know, him losing to Monty Barrett, well, a draw, but he really lost that fight. That's Monty Barrett, someone he would have knocked out in a couple of rounds in his early.
2 or 3 years ago.
Exactly.
Well, bit of gesturing there from King. Is there anyone else you could think of, Danny, who's a bit like David Tua? Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, you know, when fighters get to a certain point in their careers, I know you're not one of them, you know, it must be the hardest thing in the world to accept that, you know, things aren't going to be what they used to be.
Yes.
You know, and do you think David Tua is at that point where he can't quite see what the future is going to hold, and thinks that the past is going to get, you know, going to come and catch up with him?
Yes, he still looks at himself and he still thinks that he can do what he did in his younger days, and he definitely can't. he hasn't got the conditioning or the work rate or the boxing ability like he used to. His speed, he hasn't got anything he used to have in those days.
That's a very good point. Well, left hook there, and now putting some power behind the jab. And we shouldn't call it a jab, really. You know, it should be the old-fashioned term, the straight left, because that's exactly what it is. And, you know, if you think, go back to Nigel Benn against Michael Watson, you know, what Michael Watson knocked out Nigel Benn with a straight left hand.
Straight jab, yeah. Straight left hand, yeah.
And again, nice bit of work there from Tua. Speed of punch, massive asset. And he's very lucky, really, isn't he, Tua? There's not a great deal coming back at him.
As I said, Demetris is just a punching bag at the moment, just taking shots.
Yeah, stumble there from King.
King is a good fighter. If you've got a young prospect and you just want him to learn to go to 10 rounds, he's a good fighter. Because nothing's going to come back at you. Nothing dangerous.
Yep, if you want to learn to unload against a fighter with a cross-arm guard, King's your man. Yep. Although I suspect that, you know, there's something about him offensively that we've not quite seen yet. 80-72 then, 2 to go. So, is it fair to say then, Danny, that you've, in your opinion, David Tua's glory days are gone?
Yes, I think they're definitely gone. There's no way he can get to the level he was at before, and you know, I think fighters like David Hay and Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko are way above him now. He can survive with them guys.
Thank you.
In his early days he could, but not now. Definitely not now.
Well, he is 38 years of age now, and things are not getting any better for him. That's for certain.
He's been pro now 19 years, and it's a long time.
Yeah, well, it's 10 or so years, isn't it, since he was, you know, at his best.
Yes.
Father time, of course, takes its toll on all of us. And he's been boxing a long time. So this is round 9, penultimate round. Oh, bit of dancing there from Tua.
We've seen it all now.
Well, I've got to say, Danny, I've never ever seen, just like you know, very surprised to see Tua actually adopting, you know, a pretty decent boxing style here. Speed of punch, not massive shots by any means, but doing really well in a pure boxing mould.
Yes. He's definitely showing versatility.
And we're not used to seeing him do that, are we?
No.
You know, as I say, you know, he'd get you early or late.
That's right.
But in the meantime, he'd rack up a huge deficit, and then wipe it all out.
Yes. He normally just comes forward, throwing them bombs, but now he's showing some good boxing skills.
Absolutely right. And just think, if he could turn his career back 10 years and had this kind of ability showing then, as well as the power he possesses, what a different fighter he might have been.
True.
I'm not saying he would have beaten Lennox Lewis, but you never know.
It would be more interesting.
Absolutely. So Demetris King then in the solid black trunks with the silver piping, all the way from Flint in Michigan, against David Tua, who is of course a South Auckland boy. Nice left hook there from Tua.
Because David Tua's got such a good name and still highly rated, I think the German promoter will bring him over to Germany and he'll fight one of the top prospects and probably lose, and that will be probably his way out of boxing. Yeah,
well, that's the payday. That's the one that'll get him out of trouble, because, as I said before, he's had some pretty poor business deals go down. And that's a shame for David Tua, because I think he put his trust into people and let him down. Or so I believe. But you know, I suppose he's got to take some responsibility for himself as well. Now, what's going on here? Oh, problem with the glove. Bit of tape. That was Mrs. Tua at ringside. He's got 2 kids, by the way, David Tua.
David Tua looks very relaxed, like he's not even really breathing. I think he should, you know, put it on Demetris King and see if he can get him out of there.
It'd be nice to see that, wouldn't it? Really, really go for it. You know, full pelt. There's his dad. Go for it, full pelt, and just see what King can take. I mean, I'd like to see that, Danny.
So would I.
Well, that took some time, didn't it? Anyway, the action resumes here in the 9th round of the scheduled 10. I mean, once upon a time, and we both know this.
Oh,
that was
shot.
A good right hand, wasn't it?
Good shot.
And the bell's gone, they're still fighting. So 90-81 then, and we've got 1 round to go. And I've got a feeling, Danny, he's going to unload here.
I hope so.
So do I.
I hope so. Close the show nicely.
So a bit of replay here then from the 9th. Nice uppercut there.
Picking his shots very nice.
But even when he doesn't intend to hit you with a big shot, it still hurts.
Yeah, he's very heavy-handed.
What would you do with him? He wouldn't get near you, would he?
You've got to keep moving. You can't stay still against someone like him. You stay still, you get knocked out.
Yeah, movement, I think, is the key against a man like David Tua. Just be an abject coward and make sure he never hit you at all. I think that's sensible, Danny, don't you? Anyway, here we go then, 10th and final round. So the big punching David Tua, who's, I think, been rather nice to Demetris King here. And King has fulfilled his role, the role he was sent over for, which is to give David Tua virtually a public workout. But he's taking some lumps as well, hasn't he?
Yes, he is.
Well, now's the time, Daddy. You've done it, and I've done it. We've all done it. You know, in sparring or in an exhibition. You think, last round, let's go. Go for it.
Yeah.
And you enjoy yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I'd love Tua to do that. Close the show with a big bang, but he looks like he's just relaxing and, you know, he knows he's ahead in points. He's made some nice shots as well. Nice combination. He seems like he's more happy to show what type of his nice boxing skills than, you know, putting them power shots together.
Sure. I mean, you get nothing out of a first-round blowout anyway. That we do know. I mean, we've established that already. The crowd will probably love it. Some probably would feel very disappointed. But I think, you know, generally, it's been a very good boxing performance by Tua. And it's a performance we're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the time of his life. Like you've already said, you know, what is he now, 38 years of age? You know, he's not the man he was, which we've already established. So there's another way of doing things.
Yes. Like Ali, as he got older, he changed his style, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he turned from a fleet-footed boxer to an out-and-out tough guy, really, didn't he?
He did, and he had to.
Well, he was a tough guy, you know. A lot of people don't appreciate that about Ali. He was a very tough man.
Yes, he was.
Good left hook there from Tua. Now, very pleasing performance this for David Tua. And as I said, Demetris King has come and done his job. And that job was to give Tua something to think about en route to a 10-round win. We're in the final minutes. Can't see David Tua having lost a single round here. Can't see him levelling one either. Although there was one round when King got a bit cheeky. That was slightly debatable, but I still think every round has gone...
Good shots.
Yep, Tua's way. Oh, nice right.
Oh. Tua's crunching in them shots. He's looking for the knockout this time.
It looks like it, doesn't it? So just a few seconds to go, and that, in fact, is the final bell. So an excellent win for David Tua.
Real close to the show. Excellent.
That's 100 points to 90 for us, if I speak for you, Dan. And before we get the official verdict, I'd just like to say a big thank you to Danny Williams for occupying the pilot seat, or the co-pilot seat. Been a very interesting show, Dan.
Certainly has. Some good boxing, some entertaining fights.
Yes, the crowd got their money's worth there. Here we go.
Judge 1 scored about 100 to 91. Judge 2 scored about 100 to 91. Judge 3 scored
two judges gave a level round. And one got it right.
Of a man who's still the king of Kiwi boxing.
So David Tua then declared the winner, but it's ironic, isn't it, Danny Williams, that Demetris King waved his arm in the air. Thanks for joining us. Good night.